What's going on, everybody? It's Q from Retro Q Gaming, and we are going to weigh in on an old school debate here, now, and put it to rest completely. We're going to look at one side, we're going to look at the other side, we're going to look at the official side, and we're going to look at what's the actual right side. Now, what am I talking about? Well, we're going to settle an age-old debate that's been kind of raging on for about 30 years at this point. It's progressed to one little minor change here and there now and again, but that's beside the point. We're going to look at it overall anyway. So what am I talking about? Well, there's this very niche system you may or may not have ever heard of. It's extremely niche. Very, very few people have ever heard of it. And to be honest, if you look on YouTube, you'll probably only ever find maybe 2 or 3 videos on the entire website about it. Now, this system is called the Nintendo Entertainment System. The NES, as you people may incorrectly know it as. I say incorrectly because it's mostly North Americans, like Canadians and people from America, for some reason call it the NES. I realize it is the abbreviation of the 3 letters down to the NES, Nintendo Entertainment System. Well, that's a poor version of it. Nintendo Entertainment System. There you go. That makes far more sense. But hey, listen, we all know that we can't trust Americans with the English language, he says with a questionable Irish accent at best sometimes. But anyway, this has raged on for a very long time, and usually it falls into one of 3 categories. Do you call it the Nintendo Entertainment System? Do you call it the NES? Or because Americans are weird with their language and their pronunciation and all that, do you call it the NES? Kind of like Ness from Earthbound. Well, just recently, Nintendo have actually clarified the official way of saying this and the official way of pronouncing it. And much to many Americans' dismay, Nintendo have officially classified it as being called the NES. And I'm here today to not only lay a smackdown on every single one of you Americans out there who are incorrect with saying all of this, but I'm also here to lay the verbal and semantical, is that a word? Sure it is now at least anyway, pronunciation smackdown on Nintendo themselves. Nintendo, it is not the Nintendo Entertainment System. It is not the NES. It is not the NES. It is, in fact, the NES. The Super Nintendo is not the Super NES. It's not the S.N.E.S. It's not the S.N.E.S. The Super Nintendo is the S.N.E.S. These words are pronounced and spelled with an E-Z-Z at the end of it. So you can get rid of all you frauds like Reggie Fils-Aimé, who doesn't even know how to pronounce their own consoles correctly. And he can sit the fuck down. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Although chances are you're probably ladies and gentlemen, because if you grow up with that kind of thing, you're probably in your late 20s or 30s or 40s at this point. But hey, we're all mentally kids, am I right? So there it is. Anyway, the Europeans were correct all this time. I mean, that's a given. The English created the language, so enough said. So R.I.P. to the NES. Rest in peace to the Nintendo Entertainment System. And rip S.N.E.S. And rip NES. It's the S.N.E.S. It's the NES. Deal with it. Mic drop.